Hi Taurus, welcome to a relationship reading for April 2019. I'm Raina. This is a reading intended for people who are struggling in their relationship, their primary relationship. And struggle can mean different things to different people. This is not meant as fortune telling, telling the future, but simply looking at the present. And what do these cards mean in terms of synchronicity? When I pick a card and it relates to your life, that's really awesome, and it can feel like it's speaking directly towards you. Look, I got 3 major arcana cards for the first 3 cards. That's pretty amazing. But it's not meant to like say this is going to happen. Holy moly. It's not that it's meant to happen. It's just that it is something that is very, in alignment with what you're dealing with. Well, this rarely happens. I have here 5 out of 6 major arcana cards. Major arcana cards are the ones that say the star, the tower, and they represent greater change on the longer lasting change, we should say, rather than the minor arcana cards that could just be the day-to-day developments, which can be relatively minor and not that important overall, but still part of life. Now, I believe it was somebody that was a Taurus. They actually said to me in a prior reading, could you please put the cards out in front? Because even here, you may have noticed that I had them right here because I only have a certain amount of space. This is kind of my space for my camera. And the way my camera is set up, I can't attach an auxiliary mic because it creates static. There's something, I think it's some flaw in this particular camera because I had this problem in the past. And every time I do different types, it still creates a static. So I have to be close to the mic. And so in any case, I'm laughing. I mean, I don't care. I don't care if somebody thinks that, because it's really not about the cards. It's about the message, okay? But I'm hoping that you saw that I was picking from different piles on the side and not choosing the cards themselves. Okay. The heart of the matter is the Hangman. And these readings are intended for people who are going through some kind of relationship drama or, just having problems in their relationship. Not for people that are happily married or happily coupled. And they're just meant, as I said, to give messages based on your particular situation, not to predict the future or anything like that. So the Hangman is the heart of the matter. This can indicate feeling like you're in a state of suspension, like you're kind of being hung out to dry, so to speak, or somebody is kind of jerking you around. And an example would be if you found out that your partner is seeing somebody else. And you, being the typical Taurus, even though you tend to be very possessive, jealous, you still may have been like, I'm going to fight for this relationship. And you're not willing to give it up. And the other person is deciding who they want to be with. Well, that's not a very comfortable position to be in. So if you're in that position, there may be this sense of, like I said, being in limbo is another way of putting it. And this card connects to Neptune, and probably because it's that nebulous quality that this card represents, or the Christ-like sacrifice. This sometimes can indicate sacrificing your happiness for that of another person, and things like that. So maybe it is a Pisces individual specifically, but who knows? I'm just giving you different interpretations. In the past position, we have the Tower. So this is where I get this idea of some kind of revelation or discovery that you make that relates to this person and their behavior, what they've been up to, and you're like, oh, so that's what they've been doing all this time. And you may feel this sense of betrayal, but again, you still don't want to give up the relationship. And that can feel a little bit uncomfortable, because when you're in that state of limbo, you can't really move. You can't really make any new choices, because everything is based on this other person's choice. And you're just kind of waiting in suspension. Now, one thing to note about this is that your sign is associated with patience. So you may be a little bit like feeling as if you can't move forward, but you may not care all that much, because as long as there's any kind of hope that things are going to go in your favor, you might be just like, I don't care, I'm willing to wait. The higher message is the Star card, which is a very hopeful higher message. Actually, speaking of higher messages, the Star card can relate to your spirit guides or loved ones who have crossed over, who are trying to help you to, make the right decision. So make sure that you are allowing spirit to guide you. Don't be so earthbound, being an earth sign, Taurus, that you kind of neglect to tune into any possible messages that you are receiving. Now, being somebody who has Taurus rising myself, I do understand that tendency to kind of like be in the here and now and not really, and kind of question. If something comes into my head, I normally will think that I think it. But there are times when I'm like, I wonder if that was my spirit guide who suggested that, because it doesn't feel like it's coming from me. And so that's what I'm saying to you, is to just have a little bit more open-mindedness about what could be the influences going on, the potential spiritual influences, and how they can affect you. Now you see that I have crystals in front of me. Some of them were sent to me by a lovely lady, and I hope that I have her address, because I want to write to her. She was one of my first clients. This was like almost 4 years ago, and she sent me a bunch of crystals. I don't have them all displayed right now, but I think that Taurus is a sign that can really benefit from the physical kinds of aspects of spiritual practice. So crystals and saging, or what's that stuff called? Palo Santo, I think it's called, which is kind of the latest. It's got a wonderful smell. If you've ever been to a yoga class or any other kind of spiritual workshop, sometimes they will burn it before the class. And it's just a wonderful, I would say earthy scent. I can't remember what it smells like at the moment. I haven't, I've never burned it on my own. But in any case, some of these more three-dimensional, see my Buddha there, which I got in Chinatown in Chicago, kind of symbols of the spiritual path. And that can be very helpful. Sacred geometry, okay, something like that. So the idea of the Star card is that it's having faith in the unseen forces of this, I was going to say of this world, which is kind of contradictory, but you know what I mean? So it's very easy sometimes for those of us who have a lot of earth to kind of like say, if I don't see it, I'll believe it when I see it, and there may be forces around us that are there for our guidance if we would only let down our guard and go and allow them to guide us. And we just kind of close a blind eye, almost. So the Star card is about healing and about hopefulness. And if you're in a state right now because of the Tower, Taurus, where you feel like there is no hope, there is no healing that can be had, if you feel like very, I don't want to say even distraught, but very like not sure if you can forgive, maybe that's what the Hangman represents to you. Maybe the other person is asking you to forgive them, and you're kind of like in this netherworld where you don't know if you can. The Star card is saying that you can always heal. It doesn't mean that you forget about something that has happened that was very painful, but that you simply see things from another person's point of view. If I had to say, one of the shadow elements of Taurus is the refusal to see things from other people's points of view. Not saying that all Taurians will possess this quality. Some of you may be a lot more advanced and you will be able to see things in a more universal way. But everyone wants to be happy, and sometimes they do really shitty things in a quest for happiness. You know, that's the bottom line. And it sucks. It's not okay, but it is what it is. And if we can stop making it personal, like they were definitely trying to screw me over, and see it as more of their own pain that was so overwhelming that they chose to do something that ended up risking maybe even a family, let alone a couple staying together. What is crossing you is the Two of Wands. Now, I could say that this is also that this other person's lack of being able to choose is, torturing you. But I think this is on your end, Taurus, because the wands always represent personal, the person's personal or individuality, I guess I would put it. And this is also a card of relocation and things like that. So I think like if somebody else is kind of acting like they can't choose between you and another person, you can make that decision for them if you have the guts to. And my feeling is, I don't care how much you love somebody, if they are really that undecided between you and somebody else, don't allow yourself to be degraded like that. There's no I don't think there's an upside to, hanging around, pardon the pun, for somebody else to decide whether you're good enough for them. I mean, let's face it, that's what's really going on here for those of you that resonate with this. What's coming in is represented by the Temperance card. And, I didn't think about it this way, but there could be some kind of Sagittarius person, because I was thinking even this, that is in your life. And so for some of you, this may be that person. But the Temperance card, you see, 1 foot in water, 1 foot on land. The mundane and the spiritual coexisting peacefully. And that's balance. That is, to me also, the water would represent the emotions and the land, the practicality. So because you're earth, you may have the practical like nailed down. And you're really good at that stuff. But maybe emotionally, you're kind of challenged sometimes because you don't have that kind of reference point. Emotionally, you're more pragmatic, so everything is in the lens of like, is this logical, rational, or beneficial to my life from a productive standpoint? And that's okay, but it's always good to know that you are a divine bliss being. You're not just this bag of bones going through this one lifetime. And again, with the Star card as well. The Star card connects to Aquarius, by the way. So I like to say that in case there is a person of that sign that you're dealing with, that could also be showing you, you know, that this is that person. But it's about balance with the Temperance card, and about knowing, like, I want to be vulnerable in relationships, but I don't want to be weak. I don't want to be a patsy. I don't want to be somebody's doormat, you know. And the outcome is the Emperor. This is about being in control of yourself, being in control of your life, having that sense of authority. Now, this can be an authoritarian card, you know, but I think in this context, Taurus, this is about being large and in charge, about having that ability to, like, get it together, you know, with the Tower that can create a lot of fear. And fear can make a person feel kind of scattered, kind of like not intact. And with the Emperor, it's like you marshal your forces. You gather all of your strength to be able to make the decision to, you know, stop being the victim. You know, I would say, I think I've come up with the title of this video, Get Off the Cross. You know, maybe you have sacrificed too much for a relationship, and now it's time to, like, put your foot down and move on with your life. All right, that's what I have for you, Taurus. Onward and upward. Is it onwards and upwards? So I hope that you got something from this reading. If you would like something more personalized based on your natal chart, please visit me at rainamoonastrology.com. The link is below. Take care. Bye-bye.